Welcome to Warington Racing. This is a 360-degree virtual reality video, so you can look around the scene at any time by dragging on the image with your finger or with a mouse. For this last race of Series 2, Warington was only 1 point behind Wind Dancer in first place and 1 point ahead of Morningstar in third. Here we are approaching the race committee boat, which is where the umpires for the race do their work. The orange flag means they're in position to start the race, and that defines one end of the start line. The other end of the line is marked by the yellow triangle. Together they should make a line perpendicular to the direction of the wind. The way you start a sailboat race is that the race committee boat signals a countdown with flags and on the radio, and then your boat can cross the start line after it hits zero. At our club, you get a free pitcher of beer if you can be the first to cross the start line on time, plus there is an award at the end of the year for the best starter in the club. If your boat's on the course side of the line when the race starts, you have to get your boat completely back behind the line again before you can cross. The wind was light thanks to intermittent rain showers passing through the area. We spent the pre-start checking to see if the start line was truly perpendicular to the wind. It was, and practicing our run-up to the yellow start pin that marked the right-hand end of the start line. As the time counted down, Resolute decided to try to outmaneuver me by falling behind me and looking to take advantage when I turned back toward the start line. My start strategy for this race was basically to sail away from the start pin right down the starboard tack ley line. That way I could turn around and be perfectly lined up with the start pin. I knew where that ley line was thanks to a visual reference called a transit that I had observed during the pre-start practicing. I sailed back and forth with the intention of ending up at the pin with about 3.5 minutes left. As I passed the pin, I noted what time was left, divided that by half, and thus knew when I had to turn back around. Resolute close behind me. If I turned around by going to the left and tacking, he could match my turn and pin me in a bad place with the right of way over me. So instead I jibed here and hooked underneath him. At this point I could require him to sail higher towards the wind than is possible for his boat, and he had no choice but to slow down and let me pass. At this point I was kicking myself for not making the turn about 20 seconds earlier, as it looked like Wind Dancer was going to cross the line first. As we got closer, it became clear that we were actually ahead of him and we won the jug easily. After that, we both settled into a starboard tack. Our strategy for this part of the race was just to cover Wind Dancer. That is, match his moves and keep him close. If he went left, we'd go left. When he tacked, we would tack, even though we were ahead of him. That way he couldn't get away from us and find some strange advantage in a fluke of wind. But something told me that he tacked too early at this point, so we stayed on starboard a little longer. We noted that the boats in the division that started ahead of us were having difficulty getting to the windward mark in one pair of tacks, and that suggested to us that there was probably some kind of wind direction shift happening further up the course. When we did finally tack, it seemed like we were high above the ley line, but as we got up the course, we did indeed experience a wind shift, and our course started to curve to the right. Still, because we had been conservative, we were able to make the windward mark on just the one tack, and everyone else struggled. As we started the downwind run for the next mark, the wind began to die, and we heard the race officer give directions to shorten the course. At the time, I assumed this was because the wind was dying, but actually it was due to a thunderstorm cell coming in towards us. We crossed the finish first in our division, which put us over the top to claim first for the series. We beat the rain back to the clubhouse and enjoyed a well-earned beer for creating this trifecta: start, race, and series. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share for more immersive videos like this one of Warington Racing.